After 15 hours of mediation, the negotiating committee of University of Minnesota AFSCME has made the decision to take the university administration's settlement offer to union members for a vote.
With that announcement, AFSCME members ended their 2-week strike at the University of Minnesota. Their struggle for a fair contract is just one of the stories we feature in this edition of Minnesota at Work, the weekly program by and about working people. I'm John C. We'll also hear from workers involved in another contract fight at the Dakota Premium Packing Plant in South St. Paul. And we'll join working people for 2 demonstrations at the state capitol, one in support of more funding for transportation, and the other to demand an end to U.S. involvement in the war in Iraq. Finally, we'll see how union members are helping their neighbors recover from the floods in southeastern Minnesota. Let's start with the walkout at the university, only the second strike against the U in more than 50 years. Members of the clerical, healthcare, and technical locals of AFSCME walked off the job from September 5th to the 21st. From the start, the strikers drew on the support of community, other workers at the university, and students, including this group that demonstrated at a meeting of the University Board of Regents.
Our intention today as students was to go into the Regents meeting and ask them if the strike could be settled today, if the workers could get fair wages today, if they will own up to their responsibility today.
All right, I know a lot of people have strong opinions, and we should use this to listen to each other and to have at least Steve Hunter listen to what we have to say. I think we should have a little speak out right now, that people have something to say about why they're here, where they're coming from, and what they want the University Board of Regents to hear, so Steve can report that to them. I think that would be very good.
Hi, I'm Gary Vallis. I'm the faculty chair of the Faculty Consultative Committee. I'm also head of the Aerospace Engineering and Mechanics Department. You know, there needs to be great support behind the university to move forward. And if we don't treat everybody equally, we're going to have a hard time moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
I'm Molly, and I'm a third-year dance major, and I'm here for all of the workers, but mostly for the 2 workers in the dance building who are on strike right now, Jessica and Colin. We miss them terribly, and we want them back because we need them desperately.
I'm Jessica Horning. I'm a second-year graduate student at the Humphrey Institute, and I discovered that I make $1.50 more an hour than one of my AFSCME coworkers who has a family at home. And that, just as a world-class university, as Brunix wants us to become, that is not right. And I think that being here and being in solidarity with AFSCME workers is the only way we can resolve that.
Fair contract now! 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 Fair contract now!
Be taken out, apparently.
I'd like to thank the police for protecting us from the Board of Regents.
And we need to thank every single solitary one of those students in the Regents room. We have an enormous and vibrant and active and energetic, and boy, they stay up later than I do, community support committee. You know, the folks in the top floor of Morrill may not know what we do, but this week they're finding out, aren't they?
Other students engaged in a hunger strike to support the AFSCME members. And as the walkout continued, several lawmakers spoke out about their concerns regarding the university's stance in the negotiations.
It seems unbelievable that we feel forced into a hunger strike for such a reasonable wage demand. But yet this administration seems hell-bent on not doing what is reasonable, Brunix in particular. And this seems to be the only choice we've had. You know, he's ignored students, and he keeps telling the union he's willing to negotiate with the same offer he's offered them, you know, over and over again. And that's why I'm out here. I'm really out here because I think the union is incredibly important to this campus and to keeping this campus a place for the public.
And if we allow them to bust this union, it will have statewide, national-wide impact, not to mention the people who make education possible at this very university. So, I mean, you're talking, this is a lot of people who want to see this as an isolated issue, and that the university said it's unfortunate that students would choose to lay their bodies on the line or put their health in jeopardy over a labor dispute. But this is so much larger than a labor dispute, and every worker on the line knows it, which is why they're there. They're fighting for their dignity, respect, and a living wage. And we can see that. And students, it's our job as hunger strikers to educate a larger population of the student body exactly what's going on here between the bosses and the administration at this university and the workers and the students who are trying to make this our domain and make our voices heard.
It does affect our health a lot, but I feel it's the right thing to do to show our support. I still feel this is my school. I really love this school. I truly do. And I really want them to prove this is a first-rate school by every means. And, you know, they should treat their workers fairly, and they should treat their students fairly.
This is our university. This is the state's university. We're proud of this university. It's a land-grant institution, and we want to have a world-class institution. And the success of this institution depends on staff that works in the offices, clerical support, faculty, the board, and we provide the money to do that. So the decisions we make are important, and we're going to be taking this into consideration when we make decisions in the future.
Great. We passed in the Minnesota legislature this year perhaps the best higher education bill in 10 years. And I would say that the higher ed system in general, and the University of Minnesota in particular, enjoys a lot of goodwill on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers, the Minnesota House and the Minnesota Senate. And if I had one message today for President Brunigs and the regents, it would be, don't squander that goodwill with this strike. Don't squander that goodwill by not giving these workers the just wages and conditions they need.
The chairs of the committees in the House that dealt with this issue said they had set aside 3.25% for pay increases. When you're offering 2 or 2.25%, 2.5% to lowest paid workers, you're cutting it out of their paycheck to say, we shouldn't balance the budget, we shouldn't hold down tuition at the expense of the lowest paid workers. And I've heard from plenty of students, plenty from faculty members who believe this is wrong.
I am incredibly disappointed with the administration's actions. We intend to continue to work very hard for this institution because we want a world-class institution for the state of Minnesota and for our children. But that means that we are going to treat our staff, we're going to treat our workers as world-class workers. That's what it means. That's what it meant for me when I fought for funding for this institution. And I am going to make sure that in the future we question the appropriation for the university at the Senate. Because without you, this institution cannot become the world-class institution that we want for the state of Minnesota.
I don't think the legislature wants to micromanage how the university sets its budgets. We're just saying at a certain point, there are poor decisions being made here, and it's not fair ones. I mean, I can go on to other examples too, but I would just point out today that when you give the CEO of an institution big increase and you cut it from the workers, we know that happens in corporate America, but we expect a little bit better here at the university.
We don't want the strike to last a day longer. They have to get back to the table, negotiate an agreement that is just and fair and reasonable, because the demands of these workers are reasonable.
As the chair of the Higher Education and Workforce Development Committee in the House of Representatives, I'm not going to be too happy next year, and I did a lot of cooperating with the university. I'm not going to be too happy if I see, you know, the typists and the receptionists getting hosed.
We passed a comprehensive package that should help students and help the working people at the University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota understands that we passed that package with the intent that working people should make a good living and our students should get a good education that doesn't put them into the poorhouse. That's very simple, and we were very, very clear.
We knew that negotiations were up and that the salaries have to keep up with other costs at the university, and we gave a very strong funding bill to the university with the anticipation that it would go for tuition and salaries and that they would be distributed fairly across the system with all employee groups.
The strike affected every university campus, including St. Paul, fondly referred to as the farm campus, where operations at the veterinary school and clinic were severely curtailed.
How should I feel about that?
Whoa! Strike, strike, strike! Woo! Go team!
They're not paying us well.
Yay!
Basically.
We're poor.
Yeah, we're poor. No, it's really silly. I've been working here for 20 years, and the base pay is now $12 for a person of my particular area. And I'm making about $6 more than that, and I've been here for 20 years. And at $12 an hour, they're just not getting entry-level people who are going to stay very long, because it takes 6 months to a year to train into the job, and then you find out you're not going to be getting much of a promotion, because once you're in LA2, you're in LA2 for a long, long time, like me. And so it's just, you know, this is ridiculous. We can't even keep up with inflation.
I think what also bugs me is the perception that we're undereducated. I think actually technicals are highly educated. And the reason we're in this job is we're very committed to what we're doing. We believe in the mission of the university, and we try the best to represent that. And whether behind the scenes or in front, but we just don't seem to get the respect from way high up.
I have a college degree, and what they're offering is pennies. Pennies. I mean, they're increasing the health care, increasing the parking, increasing transportation, everything else in life, you know, rent, etc., etc. And it's just not cutting it. And the only option to me should not be quitting.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of good people.
You know, I don't run the U. I don't expect, you know, 300,000 plus a year. I just want to be able to get by. And 2.5% under $30,000 is not cutting.
We helped bear the cuts that the university went through, what was that, 4 years ago? And we accepted it. We accepted pay cuts in order, because our health insurance went up and no increases, and so we all had pay cuts. But now the university has the money and they're not willing to share it.
Yeah, the legislature gave them money to fix salaries, and part of that went to the faculty, as it should, because the faculty was woefully unpaid too. But where did the rest of it go? We certainly didn't get any, and we don't seem to be getting any at this stage. But administration sure got whopping raises. And that just seems to be kind of penny wise and pound foolish to me. They can't run it without us.
I've never claimed to be more important than faculty or more important than Brunings. I think I look at it as you have to work as a big team, and we are one of the cogs in the big machine.
They call us support staff. That's what we are. We support stuff. We do all of the stuff that has to be done. We process books, we order books, we catalog books, we uncatalog books. They have to be, it takes a lot of people to get a book on a shelf. And Dana here is our circulation, one of our circulation people, and she takes care of reserves and e-reserves and all sorts of things.
Electronic reserve.
Yeah, and it's a complicated thing. Her boss does not know how to do it. This is Jason. Jason is, he works both in serials and in government documents. We have a huge collection of government documents. We are a depository library. The stuff has to move, and Jason is one of the people who makes it move. Amy here is our serials person. She takes care of the stack. She keeps things where they're supposed to be. She puts them back. She sends them to the bindery. She pushes these great big trucks, this big, and it takes her a few minutes to get her feet going, but then she pushes them down to the dock and she pushes them back. Laura here is up at plant pathology. She runs the plant pathology library. She also does a lot of our web work on, for the library websites and whatnot, and she's an absolute whiz at them, makes them look beautiful, makes the content look good, and makes it accessible. And I don't know what she does really, but we like her.
Not in the library.
No, she's not, but she's...
But no, I work in human resource education, and I'm a webmaster, so I'm the one disseminating the information to the students and the potential students of all our programs.
Here we all are, hoping that the university will come to its senses, but we're not quite holding our breaths.
Strikers and supporters picketed loading docks to put pressure on the university and reached out to other university workers. Although they did not achieve many of their economic goals, strikers said the walkout brought a new unity and a sense of community among the members.
I said to a friend, I was just innocently sitting at my desk doing my work, and all of a sudden, you know, the union reached up and grabbed me, and suddenly put me down in a different world. It feels like the world has changed. For me, radically in the last 2.5 weeks, and I don't expect that it's going to go back to the way it was before. I feel a much stronger connection with my coworkers. I feel like I've met people from all over the university, and it's been wonderful. It's brought us really close, and I think the union's much stronger now than it was before. That's my feeling.
No, unity and solidarity. Like, I have never seen the outpouring of support that I have seen come through this strike. It was like, on any given day, I was moved by it. We had people coming up here to drop off checks, to ask how they could help, to come out to our picket lines, as Shireen was saying. We had people coming in and handing in their mutual support forms, and people, just saying, well, we really need this, and we're going to do this together, and I'm going to stay out here because I know we can do this. And I mean, people have just been so strong.
And people really see that this is our university. This is the state's university, and that we were standing up not just for our standard of living, but we were standing up for the people of Minnesota, and that through thick and thin and all of the hard times, people shored each other up and helped each other out. The level of concern and compassion that folks had for each other, and just to make sure that everyone was getting through the day was really incredible.